Michael Anderson never believed in love at first sight. At 26, he was practical, focused, and determined to build a successful life in Chicago. He worked long hours as a software engineer, rarely took vacations, and spent most evenings alone in his apartment. Love was something he saw in movies, not in real life. That belief changed on a cold October evening. Rain poured from the dark sky as Michael rushed into a small coffee shop to escape the storm. The place was crowded. Every table was occupied except one. A young woman sat there reading a book. She looked up and smiled. "You can sit here if you want." Michael nodded. "Thanks," he sat down. For the next few minutes, neither spoke. Then she noticed the laptop in his bag. "Workaholic?" Michael laughed. "Is it that obvious?" "A little. My name is Michael." Emily, that simple conversation lasted 3 hours. Neither noticed the time. Neither wanted to leave. When the coffee shop finally closed, Michael walked Emily to her car. Before leaving, she smiled. "I hope I see you again." Michael smiled back. "You will." For the first time in years, he meant it. Over the following months, they became inseparable. They explored Chicago together, watched sunsets along Lake Michigan, shared dreams, fears, and childhood memories. Emily wanted to become a pediatric nurse. Michael dreamed of starting his own technology company. Every moment felt effortless. Every conversation felt natural. And every day, Michael found himself falling deeper in love. One snowy December evening, they stood beneath thousands of Christmas lights downtown. Emily looked at him. "What are you thinking?" Michael smiled. "That I'm probably falling in love with you." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Good. Why?" "Because I'm already in love with you." That night changed everything. The next 3 years became the happiest years of their lives. They moved into a small apartment together, adopted a golden retriever named Max, built routines, shared responsibilities, dreamed about marriage, dreamed about children, dreamed about forever. And forever seemed possible. Until tragedy arrived without warning. One afternoon, Emily called Michael from work. Her voice sounded strange. "Can you meet me after work?" "Sure, please don't be late." "I won't." That evening, they sat in silence inside a hospital parking lot. Michael's stomach tightened. "What happened?" Emily looked down. Then she handed him a folder. Michael opened it. Medical reports. Test results. Diagnosis, cancer, the word blurred before his eyes. "No," Emily began crying. "I didn't want to tell you like this." "No, Michael, no." His voice broke. "This isn't happening." But it was. And nothing either of them said could change it. The following months became a battle. Chemotherapy, hospital visits, pain, fear, hope, disappointment, repeat. Michael never left her side. Every morning he drove her to treatment. Every night he held her hand. Even when she cried, even when she screamed, even when she wanted to give up, he stayed. Because love stays. That's what real love does. One night Emily looked at him from her hospital bed. "You should leave." Michael frowned. "What?" "You deserve a normal life. I want you. You deserve someone healthy. I want you. You deserve children. I want you. You deserve a future." Michael gently kissed her forehead. "You are my future." Emily cried harder than ever before. Months passed. Against all expectations, her condition improved. The doctors were optimistic. For the first time in a long while, hope returned. Michael proposed to her on a spring afternoon beside the lake where they had shared their first date. Emily said yes. The wedding was scheduled for September. Everything seemed perfect again. But life wasn't finished testing them. 3 months before the wedding, Michael was driving home from work when a drunk driver ran a red light. The collision was devastating. Michael survived. Barely, he spent weeks in intensive care. Emily never left the hospital, not for a single day. Every morning she sat beside him. Every night she prayed. The doctors warned her that recovery would be slow. Very slow. Yet she stayed. Because love stays. Months later, Michael finally recovered enough to walk again. Their wedding was postponed, but neither cared. They still had each other. And that was enough. Or so they thought. 1 year later, Emily's cancer returned. More aggressive. More dangerous. More cruel. The doctors had fewer options. The treatments became harder. The side effects became worse. The hope became smaller. Still, Michael refused to surrender. He searched for specialists, experimental treatments, clinical trials, anything, everything, but despite his efforts, Emily continued growing weaker. One winter evening, snow fell softly outside her hospital window. Emily stared at the sky. "It's beautiful." Michael squeezed her hand. "Yeah, do you remember our first Christmas?" "Of course. You told me you were falling in love with me." Michael smiled through tears. "You never let me forget. Promise me something." "Anything. When I'm gone," Michael shook his head. "No, when I'm gone, no." "Please." He closed his eyes. "Okay, don't spend your life being sad." Michael couldn't answer. "Promise me." "I can't." "You have to." His tears finally fell. "I promise." Emily smiled. "Good." The next morning she slipped into a coma. Michael held her hand for 3 days. 3 days without sleep. 3 days without hope. 3 days begging for a miracle. The miracle never came. On the 4th morning, the heart monitor became silent, and the love of his life was gone. Just like that. 29 years old. Gone. The funeral took place beneath gray skies. Hundreds attended. Friends, family, co-workers, patients whose lives Emily had touched. But Michael remembered almost none of it. His world had ended. Everything afterward felt empty. Weeks became months. Months became years. The apartment felt silent. The city felt colder. The future felt meaningless. Yet every year on the anniversary of their first meeting, Michael visited the same coffee shop. The same table. The same corner. He ordered 2 coffees. One for himself, one for Emily. The employees eventually learned his story. Nobody disturbed him. Nobody interrupted. He would sit there for hours remembering her smile, remembering her laugh, remembering the life they almost had. 5 years later, Michael received a package. There was no return address. Inside was a small envelope, written in Emily's handwriting. His hands trembled. He opened it carefully. Inside was a letter. A letter she had written shortly before her death. The final words she never got the chance to say. The letter read, "My dearest Michael, if you are reading this, then I am gone. I wish I could tell you these words in person. I wish I could spend one more day with you. One more hour. One more minute. But life doesn't always give us what we want. You gave me something many people spend their entire lives searching for. Real love. You loved me when I was healthy. You loved me when I was sick. You loved me when I was scared. You loved me when I could no longer love myself. Because of you, I was never alone. Because of you, I was never afraid. Because of you, I lived a beautiful life. Please remember something. My greatest sadness is not that I'm leaving. My greatest sadness is leaving you. But my greatest happiness is knowing I was loved by you. If souls exist, I'll find you again. If heaven exists, I'll wait for you. And if neither exists, then thank you for giving me a lifetime of happiness in the short time we had together. Forever yours, Emily." By the time Michael finished reading, tears covered the page. For the first time in years, he smiled. Not because the pain was gone, but because the love remained. Some people live 80 years and never find true love. Michael found it, lost it, and carried it in his heart forever. Because real love doesn't end when someone dies. Sometimes it survives long after the final goodbye. And sometimes, the saddest love stories become the most beautiful memories.